high-frequency stock trading, which I think is quite interesting, and I said that in that environment, highly normalized, highly relational databases are what they work with, very different indeed from the NoSQL apps databases that we just heard about. But his talk today is on tablet-based software for healthcare applications. It's of particular interest to my group. I notice there are some in the room because we are in the process of implementing some tablet-based computing down at MUSC. So we're putting iPads in the hands of registration clerks and doctors. So we'll have a great deal to learn from what you have to say. So thank you very much.
Wire myself back up here real quick. As I've been introduced, my name is Matthew Hatch, but thank you for coming to the presentation. I know it's the last one of the day and most of you are probably tired and ready to go network and I guess wait for the raffle for the Galaxy tablet. But so like it was mentioned, I'm going to be presenting on tablet-based software for healthcare applications, and this is somewhat of a misnomer because the definition for what constitutes a tablet nowadays has pretty much broadened. So now it covers, the iPad, the Zooms, a lot of these smaller devices like the Galaxies. It, covers the iPhones, the Android phones, and a lot of the smartphones, including some of the new devices that are come out by BlackBerry and several other providers. So, but this is my first time formally speaking at a conference like this, and it's my first time at Posscon. So. If you just bear with me and if I mess up or stutter, I'll move on. But just so I can get a brief demographic, who here is actually development? All right, and I guess medical professionals? Okay, so it's kind of a broad demographic. So what I'll do is I'll try to basically cover the basics and give you kind of a broader idea, and I'll just kind of run through my spiel fairly quickly so that I know a lot of you have specific cases and questions that you'd like to ask because everybody's trying to break into the tablet-based field. So what I'll do is I'll try to get through this very quickly, and then we can go to a case-by-case and kind of customize this since it's such a small group so that you can get all of your questions answered. So just to give you a brief overview, so to start with, we'll cover a little bit about the tablets, about why they've started becoming more popular, and try to focus on some of the aspects that are specific to the medical field and not just consumer trends. Secondly, we'll take a look at what the tablets are out there and who makes them, and more of what separates them from each other and how they apply to various tools. After, we'll focus on some common use cases for the tablets and what roles they may easily be used to fill. And moving on from that, we'll get into the differences between the web-based applications and the ones that are locally installed on your devices. So like, say, using the cloud versus using a device local program that connects with a server. And then we'll delve into some of the peripherals that are becoming more prevalent, specifically like heart rate monitors and devices that can be plugged up to your tablet or connected wirelessly via, say, something like Bluetooth or near frequency RFIDs. And show you how, and kind of explain why those are becoming more prevalent and how they can assist in the medical field and specifically anything that you're working with. So now we've seen a lot of people using tablets, and Apple's kind of hyped them a lot. So they've kind of pushed these devices into the limelight as a consumer item. They've kind of always been in the background as far as the medical field goes, but they've become more prevalent now because the cost has come down dramatically. Over the past couple of years, the tablet market has been taking off at a rather incredible rate, and we've seen various competitors come out of the woodwork, specifically the Android platform, and more recently making an attempt is the BlackBerry device with their purchase of Palm. So whether or not they actually use that OS is still kind of up for debate. So some of the reasons that they've become more and more prevalent is the size and the weight has come down significantly. Before, these devices used to be laptops that you'd have to swivel around, fold down, and they basically weighed at least a pound, if not 2 pounds or more. Nowadays, with the iPads and a lot of these devices, this weight has been pretty much cut in half or less. And the form factor has also changed so that they're much smaller, more portable. You can put them in your pockets in a lot of cases. And they're also thinner. But let's see. As the devices have matured, so has the interfaces. Nowadays, these devices are designed with more sensitive touch screens, and the software that they work with, it was built with the intention of using these interfaces. such as the multi-touch features, the iPad, and the pinch zoom and rotate features. With Apple somewhat leading the way on an intuitive interfaces design, these devices are becoming more and more user-friendly, and most of them are ready to use straight out of the box with no setup or installation necessary. Like before, when they were Windows-based, you'd still have to install other applications or uninstall all the promotional software that was installed on these devices. Oh, I'm sure we will. Everybody loves Angry Birds, right? Let's see. So as this market has boomed, so too has the market of software that comes up with it. With Apple's App Store and the Android marketplace, there is now a plethora of software packages available. Many of the vendors offer software solutions across multiple platforms to cater to a varying customer base, and most of these can be customized with a simple phone call to the vendor because a lot of them are small. And if you just call them, big, hey, I'm such and such, and I would like this feature added, and I'm willing to pay you, they'll be like, you got it. But yeah, these programs run the gambit of heart rate monitoring to records keeping and so on. And as these markets mature, the options are only going to get broader, and the offerings are only going to get more and more capable of handling almost anything. The other thing to keep in mind is that because the cost barrier for entering these marketplaces has come down significantly, whereas before it required a large company with a lot of capital just to be able to bankroll the software development. Now anybody can do it at home and just stick the app up on the App Store, and if it makes so much money, then they're just like, oh, hey, I'll just take this on full time and develop this for a customer. So and last but not least, we got Uncle Sam. As many of you may know, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services kicked off an electronic health records incentive program. I believe it kicked off at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. The program will provide incentive payments to eligible hospitals and critical access hospitals as they adopt, implement, upgrade, or demonstrate meaningful use of certified EHR technologies to achieve health and efficiency goals. And these incentives can range up to tens of thousands of dollars for the course of the program. So it's a financial incentive as well to start moving towards an electronic system, and it's kind of an incentive to get mobile as you do it, because if Uncle Sam's going to kind of chip in a little bit, you might as well make it mobile and smaller form factor so it's easier to use and more All right, so now we're going to talk about the different tablet varieties that are out there, and there are a lot of them. Much like the booming technology industry, as far as the desktops go, the tablet industry is no different. Tablets come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and offerings. The more common differences are listed here. For starters, the choice of operating system, with Apple being the first name that everybody goes to when they think tablets, with Android being a close second, and RIM recently came out with their own tablet offering called Playbook. So everybody's kind of waiting to see how well that does. But Microsoft actually has a very strong foothold in this market because a large portion of the existing electronic health records software was actually written for the desktop. And as such, is usually fairly easily ported to the Windows tablet PCs. With that in mind, the software your group wants to use is also a major consideration looking at the tablets that are available, because if you've already got a software package that you're using, you probably want to stay with it. And that will have an influence on whether you buy an Apple an iPad or a Microsoft tablet. So, but other factors are how durable does this device need to be? For example, is your device going to be in the hands of a lot of different people out in the field, or are you probably just going to want something? Then you're probably going to want something rugged like Panasonic's Toughbook or Philips Cliniscape. Their tablets. So you can see I think that's the Philips one down in the bottom right-hand corner. Or no, that's the Panasonic, sorry. And now we'll move on to some of the more common use cases. So now that you've got an idea of what's out there, let's talk about some of the common use cases for them. Obviously, most people are already doing electronic scheduling, and many will also be using them for the billing solution as well. But the transition into electronic health records allows you to combine all of these elements and have them accessible instantly at your fingertips without having to flip through the charts or to coordinate with other people to make future appointments to see if somebody's lab results are ready. All of these systems can come together nicely and basically give you immediate access to everything from the scheduling to the booking to the records to the lab results. Even to x-rays and sonograms. The other addition is it can also help you identify, because most of these devices are connected to networks, as you enter the records, they can also potentially flag candidates for research studies and clinical trials, and gives you the opportunity to offer them enrollment immediately while they're in the examination room. Let's see. All right, then for most tablets, you have the decision when you're developing or purchasing, what type of application do I want? Do I want this to be a web-based application where it's I'm connected to a server remotely, or do I want it to be a locally installed application where it's just installed via the App Store or installed via like a CD or DVD? The majority of this, So let's take a look at some of the advantages that these two different types have to offer. We'll start with the web-based applications first, and then we'll move on to what advantages the locally installed softwares offer. So let's start off by looking at the advantages of the web-based applications. These applications generally tend to cater to more generic needs, such as general records and scheduling. But overall, they tend to allow for updates much more quickly. And if you were here for the Jack Russell presentation, he kind of gave you an idea of how quickly they can roll out, where they can have features ready in a day. So that if your software is usually updating with your core needs very frequently, then web applications are generally the way to go.